Hello, this is Wesley Fryer, and I'm going to share just a quick little narrated slideshow with some slides that I prepared this Sunday to share with sixth graders in our Sunday school class, and was not able to share them for a variety of reasons, but the focus is on following Jesus. I was in New York City this past weekend, and I wanted to ask students what kinds of things they knew about New York. This is the skyline as we flew into the city at LaGuardia Airport, and trying to, kind of ascertain what students in Oklahoma think about when they hear, the Big Apple. Probably, thinking about big buildings. This is the Empire State Building from downtown. I took the rail train down to Grand Central Station and made my way to Times Square on Friday night. And in addition to big buildings, I am confident that probably the Statue of Liberty, and thinking about that symbol, is one thing that would be on the minds of students as well. And so this idea of liberty and freedom is one of two themes that I want to talk about today in the context of following Jesus. The Statue of Liberty is, by all accounts, the most well-known icon in all of the United States, and I learned a whole lot of things about the Statue of Liberty being in New York and getting to go out to Liberty Island. I didn't really realize how the Statue of Liberty was created to be a dynamic figure moving forward. This picture doesn't look as good in this particular version, but this is just a shot of her facing the rising sun in the east, and as you particularly see her from the side, she's moving forward. But we live in a day of incredible freedom and incredible choice. Probably, certainly in the United States, more choices today than people have ever had before. I don't know why I put this one in, but maybe it's just to kind of show the context. And where I was at the south end of Manhattan Island was where Battery Park is, and that's where we set off for the Statue of Liberty. But I also was a little bit further up Manhattan Island at Times Square. And so Times Square definitely, I think, personifies the idea of freedom and choice, but also all of these messages that are around us. At one time, Times Square might have been unique in having all of these messages, surrounding it, or enveloping you in these messages. And today, while it's clearly an overwhelming experience to be there, I think from, not just, these aren't just static billboards. Most of these are actually video screens. These are like televisions, so they're moving, and there's video clips that are playing. Some of them are static images, but anyway, we've got screens all around us today. We've got screens in our pockets. We've got screens, on our computers, on our televisions, sometimes in our cars. We've got billboards now that are screens. And so pretty much most of these messages are telling us that we need to consume, we need to be dissatisfied with what we have, and we need to listen to the culture that tells us to spend, spend, spend. Now, in this narrated screencast, I can't pan across, but I wanted to do that for students in the iPad keynote presentation that I'd made, just to kind of give a sense of scale. But, these messages envelop us and surround us. And the question I want to challenge everyone today with is, who is it and what is it that we're called to follow and do? And so there were two verses in the curriculum for our Follow Me lesson plan today. And the first one that I'll read from the New International Version is from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 4, verses 18 through 22. And it reads as follows. As Jesus was walking beside the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon called Peter and his brother Andrew. They were casting a net into the lake, for they were fishermen. Come, follow me, Jesus said, and I will send you out to fish for people. At once they left their nets and followed him. Going on from there, he saw two other brothers, James, son of Zebedee, and his brother John. They were in a boat with their father Zebedee, preparing their nets. And Jesus called them, and they follow as well. Now, I'm not going to take time to read this entire version, but this I always like to compare to the Message. And some of the things that you see here is that Jesus says, come follow me. I'll make a new kind of fisherman out of you. I'll show you how to catch men and women instead of perch and bass. So that's the call that Jesus is giving to his initial disciples. And then the next verse that we read, or would have read, is Matthew 9, verses 9 through 13. And this is another call that Jesus is putting to disciples. but this time it is to a tax collector. As Jesus went on from there, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at the tax collector's booth. "Follow me," he told him, and Matthew got up and followed him. While Jesus was having dinner at Matthew's house, many tax collectors and sinners came and ate with him and his disciples. When the Pharisees saw this, they asked his disciples, "Why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners?" On hearing this, Jesus said, "It is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick." And again, this particular program is only letting me have 20 seconds, so I won't read the whole version here of the message, but I think that this is pretty good language. He says, "What kind of example is this from your teacher, acting cozy with crooks and riffraff?" Jesus, overhearing, shot back, "Who needs a doctor, the healthy or the sick?" So, focus of this lesson is to think about the choices and the freedom which we have today, especially in the United States. It is absolutely amazing how many choices we have and the freedom that we have that people in prior generations would have just dreamed of having. And we have so much possibility. But amidst all this possibility, we've got a lot of messages that are frankly trying to steer us in the wrong direction. I mean, ultimate happiness, contrary to the slogan of Coke, is not found in purchasing a soft drink or buying some clothes or something else. Ultimate fulfillment is found in following Jesus Christ. And so, living as we do in the 21st century, we need to keep this in mind. The messages which surround us, we need to be intentional about putting the messages of God and God's Holy Spirit through His Word in front of us each day, so that we can be continually inspired to follow.